Hey, I'm Valerie with eXp Realty and the Greco Group here in South Carolina's beautiful Lowcountry. And this is What's Your Dirt Worth? Today, we're talking about HOA versus non-HOA land and what that really means when you're buying or selling property. One of the first questions I hear when people start looking at land is whether it's in an HOA or POA neighborhood or it's not. For some buyers, an HOA is a hard no. For others, it's exactly what they're looking for. The truth is, neither option is automatically good or bad, but they do impact value, cost, flexibility, and long-term use in very different ways. Let's start with HOA land. When a property is located within a homeowners association, there are rules, restrictions, and often fees that come along with it. Those rules can cover things like what you're allowed to build, how the property is used, and sometimes even how it's maintained. You'll hear things like CCR, otherwise known as the Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions within the neighborhood or area, and ARB, the Architectural Review Board, that works through exterior requests and new construction. For many buyers, an HOA offers predictability. Roads are usually maintained, common areas are cared for inside and out, and there's a general expectation of consistency throughout the neighborhood. For people who value structure and long-term appearance, that can be a big plus. That said, HOAs also come with limitations. You may be restricted on home size, home style, whether you can build in phases, or if certain types of homes, like manufactured and modular homes, are allowed at all. There are also fees to consider, and in some communities, initiation fees, capital contributions, or special assessments can be significant. Here in the Lowcountry, there's a wide range of HOA setups. Some neighborhoods, like Battery Point, are open communities you can drive in and out of. Others require gate access, like Islands of Beaufort. And then there are communities with manned security entrances, such as Dawtaw Island. As you can imagine, HOA fees vary widely depending on the level of amenities and services offered. Not every HOA has a golf course, for example. Others do, and in some cases, like Cat Island, you don't even need to be a paying golf member to live there. Now let's talk about non-HOA land. Non-HOA properties tend to attract buyers who want more freedom and flexibility. Without association rules, buyers often have more control over how the land is used, what they build, and how quickly they move through the process. That flexibility is a big reason non-HOA lots can move quickly, especially in the Lowcountry, where people are often looking for space, privacy, or alternative housing options. That doesn't mean that's always the case. We have many folks that are looking for that HOA convenience too. However, non-HOA land also means more responsibility. Things like road maintenance, access, drainage, and utilities are often handled by the property owner instead of an association. Those costs don't always show up in the listing price, but they absolutely affect the overall investment. This is where buyers sometimes focus on what sounds better instead of what actually fits their goals. An HOA might feel restrictive, but it can simplify certain aspects of ownership. Sometimes you don't realize until later that the neighbor's new junkyard next door isn't something you want to look at every day. This is where those CCRs come in handy. Or in my case, you really don't want to maintain a pool year-round. That clubhouse pool is looking awfully nice to my kids, and I have no headache or expense to go with it. From a value standpoint, HOA and non-HOA land can perform very differently depending on location. In some areas, HOA lots command higher prices because of amenities or infrastructure. In others, non-HOA properties are more desirable simply because of the flexibility. The key thing to understand is that HOA versus non-HOA isn't really a preference issue, it's a use issue. What are you trying to do with the land? How soon do you want to build? How much control do you want over the process? And what do you imagine being surrounded by 10 years from now? When people ask me, what's my dirt worth? HOA status is one of the first things I look at. It helps determine the buyer pool, how the property can be used, and what expectations need to be set up front. I'm Valerie with eXp Realty and the Greco Group here in South Carolina's Lowcountry, and this is exactly the kind of thing I help people work through every day. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need a little help too.